I have decided to do HRCYED 3.0, and if you don't know what that is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. This is year 3 of it, and it is hosted by HRCYED, and I will have all of that stuff linked in the description below, so you can check out the announcement video, figure out more information if you want it on this readathon. But I have seen so many people doing 2.0, and I've been following along with everyone's progress in doing it, and I feel like I was missing out. I really want to do this challenge. I have decided that I'm going to be doing the no nonsense version of it and just trying to complete all of the prompts as best as I can, just because I haven't taken part in it before, so I just want to do the bare bones of this readathon, and I'm really excited. I am not someone who ever really follows a TBR. I suck at TBRs. I'm very much a mood reader, but one of my goals that I have been continuously working on is reading down my own TBR. And so I have over 100 books on my TBR. And also this readathon, the no nonsense version, requires you to read over 100 books, I believe, if that math is correct. But I think that this challenge is a good way for me to try and read books off of my TBR that maybe I've been putting off or whatever. But I have gone through and filled some of the potential titles out for this readathon, so I'm just gonna go through those. And this isn't a full TBR of everything I'm going to read, because of course I'm a mood reader. I don't really know what I'm doing yet. And yeah, so these are just some potential ideas that I have, but I did just want to make this video to, one, announce it and hold myself accountable that I am taking part in this challenge. This readathon is a full year. It runs from July to the end of June. And I think it starts July 7th because that is when Q's birthday is. So that's when the readathon starts. However, because that is not how my brain works, I need to start on the 1st of the month, so I am going to be starting this on July 1st. Okay, so for the choose your party prompts, I have decided that I would read She Who Becomes the Sun. I believe this one has something to do with spiritual figures. My copy actually doesn't have a synopsis on the back or anywhere inside. It just starts going into the book. So I did, when I was originally doing this and making everything, I do know that when I was looking at the synopsis on Storygraph about this book, that it did have something to do with a spiritual leader or teacher. So I want to read this one for the monk role. And then for the bard role, I have Let Me Love You by Alexandria House. This one, I believe, is a romance book, and the male love interest is a rapper, so that one definitely counts for a musician type of story. But that is all I have filled out for that one so far. I don't really think the choose your party prompt is going to be too hard for me to do. I'm just not someone who reads synopsises of books before going into them. So it's one that's just gonna have to happen whenever I read a book and I think it fits a prompt, honestly. Okay, I also have 2 books for the periodic table prompt, and that is to read a book where an element that's on the periodic table is in the title of a book. And so I have Spinning Silver and The Nickel Boys. These are the only ones that I saw on my TBR that had an element in them. So yeah, that is one I'm definitely going to have to look a little harder for. For the familiar terms one, I have 3 potential titles, and one is Sons of Darkness because it has the word sons in it. I also have Mainline Mama and You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom. Again, falls under that mom one. I believe I can only use one of these books for mom. So I'm definitely, again, going to have to look for more. Also, I should say that for most of these prompts, you have to read 5 books. So yeah, that is why I need to look elsewhere, because just having 2 or 3 books is not going to cut it to fulfill the full prompt. The curriculum prompt is another one that I have not filled anything out on, and I am just going to do that as I read books, honestly. Again, I don't really know much about books going into them. I'm just going to hope that whatever I'm in the mood for is going to magically fit all these prompts and everything's just going to work out perfectly. I'm sure by the time next year rolls around, May, June, I'm going to be absolutely scrambling, but that's a problem for later me and not my problem right now. Also, I do just have the spreadsheet pulled up on my iPad, so I'm going to go through a couple more prompts that I have absolutely nothing filled out for. So regional trampesing, this one is to read from different regions of the world. I have been tracking different books that I've read from different countries, and so that is a goal of mine specifically for 2026. So I feel like that one is definitely doable. just because it fits in what I'm already doing this year, but I haven't like planned anything out for it. The US States one is another one that I don't think will be too hard, but that I don't have any plans for. As you can see, I don't really have any plans for this readathon at all. I'm just doing it. Bookception, again, another one. I'm just gonna hope I read a book that mentions another book and then read that book. I feel like it's very common, at least from the last few books that I've read, obviously in June, so it doesn't count. I've read a lot of those books that have mentioned other books that I would be interested in picking up, so I feel like that prompt would be pretty easy. For the secret prompts are backed one, this one requires a lot of books, and I'm not going to count how many because I'm lazy. But for the pun in the title, I have I See You because it's an I, the character's an I, so that one I feel like really fits. First and last name, I have Julia Song is Undateable. That one requires it to be the character's first and last name in the title. For movement, I have The Heart of Naga, and then for most recent acquisition, I have American Rapture, which I didn't go get it, and I'm not going to. The rest of them I haven't really filled out, but like prompts like read a book outside, that's definitely doable. To doom scroll and pick a book to read, also very doable. So some of those I feel like I can easily do. I feel like I keep saying that everything's really easy and it's going to be super easy to do, but that's definitely not going to be how this works, especially because you can only use a book for 2 prompts at the max. But the next one is cover style, and that is to read 4 books with different cover styles, and theoretically this sounds very easy, and so I didn't plan anything for it. I was just going to mood read and fill it in, because that's my plan for everything, I guess. For titular counting, this one requires you to read 10 books, and it is to read like 1 book that has a 1-word title, a book with a 2-word title, and so on up to 10. And I only have up to 8, so 9 and 10 I definitely need to figure something out for. But for potential titles, I have a whole bunch for all of these. I sort of just went through my entire TBR, put a whole bunch of things on here. I tried not to duplicate if I had it somewhere else, just to make it a little easier on myself. But for 1-word titles, I have Him, Reliquary, Undone, Daytide, and Lilith. And for 2-word titles, I have Fallen City, Clam Down, Artificial Wisdom, Structural Damage, Socialism Seriously, Once Dishonored, and Love Notes. For 3-word titles, I have Class Struggle Union, Kneel for Me, Her Every Wish, Back for Blood, Operation Bounce House, Half His Age, Kiss Me Maybe. 4-word titles, I have Let Me Love You, Hope in the Dark, Long Live Queer Nightlife, The Buffalo Hunter Hunter, Chain Gang All Stars. For 5 words, I have With Stars in Her Eyes, Where It All Went Wrong, She Made Herself a Monster, Make Her Wish Come True, Midnight is the Darkest Hour, and Meet Me at the Lake. For a 6-word title, I have Dead But Dreaming of Electric Sheep. And for a 7-word title, I have You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom, which is one that I had for the familiar term, so oops. But that actually means I don't have one for 8, 9, or 10, and if I decide not to use You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom, then I have 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that one, I think that one is going to be a bit difficult. Fiction to author prompt, I have absolutely nothing for. Again, I'm just gonna wing it. Title Shiratori, this one I'm not going to plan out. I am hopefully just going to like knock this out in like a week or 2, just to get it done. So for this one, the exact prompt, I'm just gonna read out the exact instructions for the prompt, and that is to take the title of a book and then use the last letter of that title to start the next book. And you must connect all 5 books in one big chain. And so again, I'm just gonna wing it. I am planning on just trying to do it all at once, just so it makes more sense in my head, but who knows, I might change my mind. For the Herget mashup prompt, I again have absolutely nothing, and that's just because I don't really want to try and limit myself on anything, just because it's you take prompts from the first and second readathon and read books based on those prompts, and you get to like choose. So there's a whole lot of prompts to choose from, and I just don't want to limit myself on that one just yet. So yeah. All right, title digits. This one, the number has to be in the title. You're not like counting out the words in the title this time. So I have 1, 3, 5, and 6. So I need a whole bunch more. This one, you need to read 11 books for this prompt. You need to have 1 through 10 in the title, and then you can choose any number after 10 for that last 11th book. But the books that I have for 1 is One of Our Kind, One Day in December, and it starts with 1. For 3, I have 3 Women. 5, I have 5 Broken Blades, which I've shown you already, and 6 Burning Candles. And now that I think about it, I do actually have The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. I believe that's the title. But that one definitely works for a number in the title. 100,000. It's over 10. That one definitely works. So I gotta remember to fill that in because I'm probably gonna forget. Next is a rainbow title, and that is to have a whole bunch of colors, and the actual color has to be in the title of the book. So for orange, I have A Clockwork Orange. Pink, I have Pink Glass Houses. Black, I have Black Lives Matter at School. Gold, I have The Glory of Gold. Silver, I have Silver in the Woods and Spinning Silver. So I do need one for white, purple, blue, green, yellow, and red. Again, all of these are just filled out with books that I have on my actual TBR. Then there's a prompt for animal families, and so you have to use like the taxonomical familiar name, and so that animal has to like be on the cover. For canines, I have Alatsaway. The cover is like a bunch of like dogs. I don't really know what this book is about. They might be like ghost dogs or snow dogs. I don't know. The cover looks cold. But those are dogs, and those are canines. Avian, I have Pink Glass Houses and Ladies in Hating. And for insect, I have Midnight Rooms. So I do still need 3 more. I'm going to say it again. I feel like finding animals on the cover would be pretty easy. Also, Clam Down has a clam on the cover. I don't know what family a clam is in, but that's definitely got to count. So that's another one I'm going to have to remember. But next is Biomes, which is another one I have not done any thinking about at all. And this one requires different landscapes and biomes to be on the cover. So you have like mountains, need like a mountain range on the cover. And yeah, I haven't done any thinking about that one. I just don't look at covers of books, honestly. I do when I'm buying them to decide if I want to read them, and then I never think about them again. Then we have the remix prompt, which is another one I have not thought about. And this one is to basically like read a sort of like a retelling of a book, or a book that is remixing another book. So like if it's gender bent, the villain's point of view, the side character becomes the main character, alternate universe, that kind of thing. So yeah, I haven't thought about that one at all. Who's surprised? Okay, Food Pyramid is to read books that have food on the cover, but they all have to be from different food groups. And I only have beverages. I have 3 options for that one. Midnight Rooms, Book Boyfriend, and A Study in Sparkling. They all have a drink on the cover. Again, me and covers. That one's, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to think about it. Same with weather on the covers. Haven't thought about that one at all. It's Your Birthday is actually going to be a fun one. I want to try and do this all in July because that's when my birthday is. That's also when Q, the host of this readathon's, birthday is. So it just seems very fitting for me to try and do the It's Your Birthday prompt in July. That is 7 books, so I'm not really sure. And I also haven't thought about it at all, so we'll see if that happens. Backlist author is to read 5 books by your favorite author, but it's their backlist books that you just haven't gotten to. I have some ideas for this one that I just didn't write down, but I have quite a few. This year I read Trad Wife by Saratoga Schaefer, and I had this author's very first like debut book on my TBR. I do own that one as an ebook, and so that's definitely an option. I also have Flawless by Elsie Silver and Spells for Forgetting by Jenna Evans Welch. These are authors who I've given other books 5 stars to before, and I haven't gotten to these ones yet, so those are definitely options. I also have Nymph on the Rocks by Lizzie Strong, and I'm sure there's more that I'm just forgetting, but I do tend to buy books from authors who I've already read and loved from before. So I definitely think this one is very doable. It's just if I'm actually in the mood to read them and, I don't know, fulfill these prompts. Pocket Monsters is a take on Pokemon, but it's not Pokemon, where you have to read all the different like Pokemon types. This is another one I also think is going to be pretty easy for fighting type. I have The Knockout. This one has been on my TBR for a while, but I believe it's a YA book about a girl who wants to start getting into boxing, I think. For Ice, I have The Cradle of Ice. Poison, I have a book that's titled Poison. And Dark, I have Sons of Darkness. I do still need one more, but again, I think that one's pretty doable. Yeah. An anthology of authors. So I do have 2 options for this one, and the whole prompt is you pick an anthology, you have to read the anthology, and then you have to read 6 authors from the anthology. So even if The Sky is Falling, this one only has 6 authors in it. So I'm not really sure if I want to try this one out for the prompt, because then I don't really get to pick the author. But that is an anthology that I do have on my TBR that I really want to get to. And then I have Never Whistle at Night. This one has a whole lot more authors, and so this one's more likely the one that I'm going to pick, but yeah, then I just have to figure out what 6 authors from either one of these books that I am going to read for that prompt. So I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do, but Never Whistle at Night is probably going to be my choice. Although for both of these, I only have one of these authors' books from each of these on my TBR. But again, this one, more options, and I always like to go with the one that gives me the most options. For Second Chances and Hidden Gems, I have only really planned out one thing for this. There's a whole bunch of different prompts you can choose, such as a 1-star review, an under 3.5 rating, soft DNF, hard DNF, less than 100 reviews, random find, ugly cover, or rec from different taste friend. I feel like all of those are fairly doable. The only one that I have sort of planned is a soft DNF, and that is The Virgin Suicides. I think I made it like 40% of the way through this book, and then I never continued it. It was one that I was buddy reading, and yeah, I just never finished it. So it is one that I do want to get through. I'm obviously going to have to restart because it was definitely over a year ago that I had started that book. And the rest, like the rest of these, I'm just going to wing it and hope it all works out. But I think I'm definitely going to choose a rec from a different taste friend, just because I do have one friend that I am buddy reading quite often with, and she definitely has different tastes than me. She definitely likes more of like the darker romantic types of books, which aren't really my vibe, but I do like buddy reading with her. So that one is definitely one that I can get done. The rest, I don't know. But those are all the prompts. Those are all of the books that I have on my radar. Obviously, I have over 100 books on my TBR, so there are definitely more that fit for these prompts. It's just where I'm going to decide to use them, if I'm going to read them, like what I'm in the mood for. And that's definitely going to be the hard part of this challenge, and that's definitely what is going to get me. But I am determined to do this readathon, and I also plan on giving, I guess, like monthly updates, I guess. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I definitely want to keep you guys in the loop while I do this challenge, just because I want to see how far I get with it and how many books I read, and I just need to film it so I can stay accountable. But yeah, I now have a whole bunch of books to put back. I also didn't get a lot of the books out because they are over there. But that's kind of my chaotic TBR that is hardly a TBR for this readathon. But thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely let me know if you guys plan on participating in this readathon. If you've participated in it before, also let me know, because there are so many people's videos that I have been watching doing this challenge, and it's just been so much fun. But thank you again for making it this far into the video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!